Hello everyone and welcome to today's Talking Reds. My name is Stewart, alongside me Sian Bennett. It's a wonderful sunny Wednesday morning and it's wonderful for another reason. Today is the day that the fixtures come out for the brand new season. It's that point where we all get excited. So forget about all that Euro stuff just for one little minute. I mean, we may talk about it later, but this is it. This is the roadmap to getting the title back. Sian, it's still an exciting moment for you, like when the fixtures come out, it becomes a bit more real again.
It does. It feels like you just forget about what's happened last season and it's like a clean slate now. And I think, looking at Norwich being the first game, could that be an omen? I don't know, but I'm feeling good, and I feel like our tails will be up. And no matter, I was thinking, who we're going to get first game, but I thought no one will want us, just because I think we've got so many people coming back. We ended the season on a high. Like, you do not want to play Liverpool when we've got a point to prove and our tails are up. So yeah, buzzing.
Yeah, and you're right. I think there is a bit of momentum about our team, and everyone else would have been looking out for when we come up. And as you mentioned, it's Norwich, the first game, just like the season we won the title, except we're away at Carrow Road this time. Third season in a row that we've been playing the champions of the championship in the first game of the season. Almost like they have a template for it, isn't it?
Which is, it's good for us in a sense, isn't it? But you do always think they're going to have a bit of a spring in the step, the ones that get promoted. I was listening to Ben Foster on the way in, and he was actually saying, they actually look forward to getting the bigger teams the first game, because they feel like they've been international tournaments in the summer, they're usually not fully fit, and they kind of try and use that to advantage when, from the past 3 seasons, we've played great first game and we've pulled through it, but, it's always a potential banana skin you do feel on the first day.
No, you're right. And of course there's going to be fans. I mean, we still don't know how many, but we suspect there's going to be fans. So going to Carrow Road, they're going to be really excited about getting back in the Premier League at the first point.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's at this point we should probably mention the fact that, yes, we know everybody plays everybody twice all season. But if you're telling me that you don't think it matters which order they go in, go find a Leicester City fan and they will tell you that, yes, it does matter. And I think Liverpool have done all right coming out of this little fixture list here. As you mentioned, we've got a promoted team to start with, which could have been worse. Yeah. Then we've got 2 home games, one of which is against Chelsea. But we play Man City, 7th game of the season, that's at home as well. And the 6 games we start with, there's a couple of tough ones, but you would want to believe that we can hit the ground running going into that Man City game.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you compare the first 6 games across, well, in my view, the only title challengers, I think, are Man U, City and Chelsea. So if you look at us, we've only got 1 out of the top 7, I think I now call it. Put Arsenal in there just in case.
We can be charitable.
Do you know what I mean? It's the summer, the sun's shining. So yeah, we've got one of the top 7 in our first 6. Man United have got none that I can see in the first 6. They've got quite an easy start. City's is quite tough. They've got 4 out of that big 7 in the first 6 games, and then Chelsea's pretty tough. They've got 4 out of that big 7 as well. So you'd like to think if we just go all guns blazing in those first games and get to that City game with us being up there, I think it'll put us in good stead. And I think just looking at the spread of games throughout the whole season, it feels like it's quite a good spread. I feel like we've not really got any like tough back to back, top 6, top 7 clashes, which is good. But then I guess there are some tough months. I think some of the things in the back of my mind is you've got the African Cup of Nations, that January to Feb, and also our festive fixture list is looking pretty tough. You've got Leeds Boxing Day, Leicester away, Chelsea away, so that, and then that coming off, with the AFCON coming up just after that, I think that's going to be the toughest period. But if you look to the season that's just gone, we started great, we ended great, and it was just that middle bit. Yeah. And I'd like to think with the full squad back, the fixture's a lot more spread out now, that we can get through that bit. But I feel like the year that we won the league, Jürgen just went into like 7th gear, didn't he? At that point, he just thought that is when you win the league. I think between December and
January. We won all our league
January.
games in December that season, so yeah, you're bang on. I think that is going to be the toughest period we've got coming up. I think we've actually been kind of lucky regarding the AFCON, because I think the tournament starts on January the 9th. So the Chelsea away game on New Year's Day, I think we should keep them for that and then send them away. and if the tournament finishes, I believe, on the 6th, so that means that the only games that they would definitely miss would be Brentford and Palace. They might be back for the home game against Leicester. So, I mean, that's almost as good as it could possibly get, really.
Yeah, you're right.
But now, as you all know, those of you who are out there, we are doing the show live today. We've been doing all our Talking Reds live at the moment, just for that instant reaction. And some of the instant reaction we wanted to get from you. The first fixture we looked for, the first fixture we mentioned was City, because City are the only real team who can stop us winning the title, I believe, this season. But it's different for everybody, isn't it? I mean, traditionally, some people, first fixture they look for is Everton. For me, for years, it was Man United. But then there's also now Leeds that I have to factor in. My sister's a massive Leeds fan, so that game on Boxing Day is not helpful at all. Thank you very much, Premier League. But I want to know from you guys in the comments, let us know, which is the game that you still think is the one you look for first? Are you thinking title? Are you thinking Man City? Or is it our traditional rivals of Everton and United? What's it for you, Sian?
Man United all day. I think I've lived and worked in Manchester for many years, and many of those years have been when Liverpool haven't been so good. So I have took some stick, like some bad stick. I've lost bets. I've had to wear Man United tops. Like, it's been tough.
Oh God.
So yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got a lot of blue nose rivals as well, but a lot of them are kind of family and friends, so I can kind of forgive that. But
you never lose those bets, really, do you?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's it. I almost feel sorry for them. Like, I hold back with my Evertonian mate. So yeah, Man United is what I always look out for. Even when like they're doing crap, I just absolutely love it. So that's the one. And then I always look out for the one that's by my birthday as well, which my birthday is 21st of January, and we're away to Palace the day after. So any Spurs go and let me know. That'd hopefully be a good little celebration. But yeah, Man United for me. What about you?
Well, yeah, it's the same for me. I think obviously with the title, I do kind of keep an eye on what City are doing, but the first game you look for is United. And I don't know, for some reason I always feel better if we're away first and then have the home game in the second half of the season. And that's the way it is. We're at Old Trafford.
And we've broke the voodoo now, haven't we?
Exactly, yeah. It's our house now. We can go strolling through the front door like, all right, lads. But no, it's you mentioned the fact that we haven't got any really big groups. We have got Watford sandwiched in between the two Manchester clubs in both times of the season. So that's going to be a tricky-ish run. And then
October looks tough, yeah, actually, two Manchester games.
Yeah, and with the late season, you have to factor in, hopefully, we'll still be in the Champions League. So some of the games might get more convoluted. But we finish at home against Wolves. I always like to finish at home. I think particularly if we're going to be celebrating, we're going to be parading maybe trophies, plural. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. No, hell, let's get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, go on, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And as I say, we've mentioned that we look like our fixtures are probably easier than everyone else, particularly at the start. As you mentioned, Man City and Chelsea have got particularly tough starts. Opening weekend fixtures, we should probably talk about them a little bit because, again, I'm quite looking forward to seeing Manchester United against Leeds United, particularly after the way that game ended last season, 6-2. But I want to take a little bit of time to talk about, again, Man City, because their game against Spurs is the game of the weekend.
Yeah.
Cards on the table here, Sian. Which team will Harry Kane be playing for in that game?
I don't know. It's tough, isn't it? I cannot see him playing for Spurs anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I think Daniel Levy's going to put up a fight. I think he's going to make it really tough for him to leave. And yeah, I don't know whether City would want to splash out just on Kane or whether they could invest. You know, as mad as it sounds, Guardiola came out after that final, didn't he? And the owner said, we're investing, which I don't know what they've got left to invest in. They've literally got the most expensive squad. But yeah, it's whether it's, you know, although they do spend a lot, I do think they they didn't go for Maguire that one time because they thought it was outpriced, and I think, you know, English talent is generally overpriced, isn't it? So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure he'll definitely go there, but I think it's a tough fixture. But I've just got my money on City just because I think Spurs need a manager, they don't know what's happening with the squad, they just feel like they're in complete transition and they're at the start of that process. So yeah, it'll be one that everyone's watching, but I see that being an easy win for City.
I think if unless Spurs have done something seismic in the transfer market, then yeah, I think you're right. I think for me, I'm hoping that the saga is still continuing by the time this game's happened, because the transfer window's still reopened.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that there's lots of needle. Like every time he makes a pass, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, who's he passing to there?" Like, do you remember? In 2005 when the whole Stevie Gerrard to Chelsea thing was going on, and then we played them in the League Cup final, and he scored that own goal.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
I still haven't really got over that. So I'd quite like to inflict that on someone else, if you don't mind. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that one. But I mean, we should talk a little bit about what our expectations are for the season in general. You mentioned the fact that we've got lots of people coming back. We're coming into this season with momentum. Do you think that getting our title back is going to be the be-all and end-all, the holy grail, or do you think we're going to be able to go into it thinking we want to attack all of the competitions, we want to get as many as we can?
I always go into it with that mentality. I think the league's a tough ask, but if you look at when we won it, it was like a 2-horse race, wasn't it? And I really do firmly believe that won't be the case next season. So like I always go into the season thinking I'd like a bit of domestic success, because it's been a while, and I know I get the feeling that the way Jurgen Klopp plays, it's so intense, and obviously with like the fixtures constantly building up, I think in all honesty, I don't think he thinks the squad could sustain like a good run if he was playing all of the best players from the start. So I think that's kind of reflected in our success in the domestic competitions anyway. But I would like to see that. I think I would like the league, but if we won a domestic cup and did a good run in the league and a good run in Europe, I think as long as we're winning trophies, I think that's where I want us to get. And I think it's unrealistic to think of doing a title charge every single season. Maybe that's just because it's been so long, it's new ground, I don't know how to navigate this whole thing. But yeah, I think I would like to see it an FA Cup or League Cup. I know it's not the biggest one, but I think as long as we win something this season, because you don't want to go 2 seasons on the bounce then with, not winning trophies with players like Van Dijk, Thiago, Salah, Mane. It's a bit of a crime, isn't it? So,
yeah. And they're going to be looking around as well. I think 2 seasons without a trophy, people start to think maybe this cycle is over, and people's heads will start to turn in. No, I'm with you. I'm a little bit greedy though. I'm not going to lie. I want the title. I think as much as a fixture list can give you incentive to win the title, I think this fixture list has could have done that, because the things that we were worried about, like the AFCON, aren't as bad, and everyone else has kind of got it worse. So we can hit the ground running. We go into that City game. If we win that City game, we could already have a points gap if you look at everyone else. And so from there, we can maybe even just kind of like hold them off a little bit if we've got a little bit of a gap around Christmas time, that busy Christmas period. That's really going to be the key, how we manage that, and going into the second half of the season where the domestic cups come into it more. I still want us to win the FA Cup. I'm going to keep saying that until we actually get close to it. Yeah. And I mean, I know that Jurgen doesn't have many knocks. Happy birthday, Jurgen, by the way. I know he doesn't have very many knocks on him, but his FA Cup record is pretty poor.
Bad, yeah.
And like, it still matters to me, even if it doesn't matter to a lot of other people out there. So I'd like to see us do that. But yeah, I think this has got me optimistic for the new season, which is what I wanted it to do. I mean, we've still got to play these 38 games, don't get me wrong. And everyone's still got to play those 38 games, but I think we can go into the season with a bit of optimism, a bit looking forward. I like the sound of that, very much so. Now, we mentioned earlier that we're going to be asking you all what your stages are, what your favourite game is, who you look for, what you particularly want to see out of this season. And we'll get to some of those in a little while. But first, we have a little insert just letting you all know exactly what we're about.
Download the Anfield Wrap's free app as we share the experience of supporting Liverpool FC from the heart of the city through podcasts, videos and writing. With award-winning matchday build-up, immediate reaction, exclusive interviews, documentaries on Liverpool past and present, we follow the Reds home, away, Europe and beyond. Download the Anfield Wrap's app now.
Well, thank you very much for all of your comments. Some of them have been absolutely fantastic. Anyone who said that they like this t-shirt, you can buy this from the Anfield Wrap. John is very, very, very pleased with me for saying that.
Get me kitted out next time. I'll have the whole gear on, bucket hat, shin pads, everything.
Right, for those who don't know, we are sitting here in the room that does hold all of the merch, and I'm looking at an absolute smorgasbord, a gallery of greats. So get on the website and get them on there. Regarding what people want to see, which game is the one that they look out for? We've had a lot of people mention Everton. A certain Gareth has mentioned Everton. I'm not sure if it's our Gareth. It probably is, to be fair. A lot of people have said Manchester United. Some people have said they want to just see the first 3 fixtures, see how we go there, which, you know, it's a fair shout. You want to kind of, you want to get a couple of wins under your belt, feel a little relaxed, work your way into the season. I like the fellow who's mentioned the potential trophy lifts at home against Wolves. And I want to go back to the time we did win the trophy. And it was after the season where we hadn't won the trophy against Wolves, but we had that moment at home against Wolves where we'd won the league for like 45 seconds.
Yeah, it was
And I think about that a lot because obviously we went on and did it afterwards, and so you kind of forget about it. But up until that point, that had been the closest we come to winning the league for 30 years.
It was unreal. Where were you when you watched that game?
I was in the pub. And it was like, we didn't really have enough time to probably celebrate because we spent most of those 45 seconds going, did they really score? Did Brighton really score? Is this really happening? And then obviously City equalised. But
I was in Camp in Fairness and the beer was just everywhere. And then I think as soon as the beer landed on the floor, I think they'd probably equalise, but it was magical.
I mean, I quite like the idea of exercising those demons, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a nice little bit of symmetry around it if we do get to lift it against Wolves. But
that final run in is actually tougher than it looks. I think we've got quite a good start, but if we have got a lot of stuff riding on it, we've got to play Everton, Spurs, Southampton away. I don't know. I'm just probably getting a bit nervous thinking about actually winning the league again. But
well, this is it though, isn't it? It's like we look at it now and we think, oh well, this team will be easy to play. This team will be tough to play. But we don't know. We don't know. Yeah. I mean, a classic example: West Ham. Like at the start of last season, no one was saying West Ham was going to be a tough game. And it turned out that West Ham had a good season and it turned out to be a tough game. So you look at Southampton away, they could very easily be in that same scenario as West Ham were. And you think of Newcastle away. I mean, to be fair, Newcastle away is a great game whenever it happens. But we've got all the memories of, again, 2 seasons ago, Divock Origi and all that. Unfortunately, he probably won't be there to recreate it, but hopefully the lads can do something. I also want to give a shout out to Neil Atkinson, who'll be very, very pleased that Brighton away is in March as opposed to December. He's been begging for that one for about 5 years, so maybe he'll get some sun when we go down to Brighton. We'll see. But in general, I'm excited about this. I think that we are going to have a good season, and I think we all get to spend the next few hours poring over it, talking about when we do this, are they going to do this? And the possibilities are endless. That's what I love about this day of the season. Now, we want to do a little bit on what happened in the actual football going on now, the Euros last night. I don't know, Shana, if you watched either of those games, but our man Diogo Jota was playing for Portugal against Hungary. Yeah. Got the win, but probably wasn't his greatest performance. He had quite a few chances that he kind of fluffed. Yeah, well, do you know what? I didn't watch that game, but went on Twitter and Jota was trending, so I thought, oh, he's right, what's happened there? And it was just everyone saying as soon as he came off the pitch, then he scored a few goals. I mean, to be fair, like Bruno Fernandes wasn't doing a lot either. Yeah. I think we can faithfully say that. But it was one of those games where, like, I can't remember, there was a couple of games like it for him in a Liverpool shirt where the chances seemed to fall to him and he just wasn't as sharp. You know, when he was at his best, when he wasn't thinking about it and the goal was just going bang, 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 it looked like he was still thinking about it a little bit. And again, first game in a massive tournament in a big group, it's understandable. And they would have been under pressure to win that game. But I want to give another shout out to Hungary because the only game in the tournament so far that's had a full stadium.
Yeah.
Like, Hungarians have done it right. Well, I say they've done it right. We don't know necessarily what their COVID numbers are, but everyone who's in that stadium was fully vaccinated. And they had a full stadium.
Wow.
I mean, it didn't do them any good. They still lost 3-0. But, like, if you're a Hungarian player walking out into that stadium, it must have been incredible.
I watched the highlights back and it's weird. Hearing a full stadium sounds like a film. It sounds so fake, doesn't it? It's like, it's mad, but unreal. Like that, just looking to these fixtures now in the first home games, I think it's just going to be, even like watching like some of like the 2,000 and 10,000, I was like crying my eyes out watching the games. Didn't manage to get a ticket, but I was like, oh, this is heavy. Like when we get back in, I'm going to be a mess.
Well, going back to the fixtures for 1 second, our first home game is against Burnley. And do you remember what happened last time Burnley came to Anfield? They took our bleeding record.
Yeah.
So we want to be blowing their ears off with that crowd noise when they come to Burnley. So anyone who gets a ticket for August the 21st, you know what you have to do. Now, finally, before we wrap up, I want to do a little bit on the marquee game from last night, France against Germany.
Yeah.
I say marquee game because it probably wasn't. I mean, it was a decent game. It wasn't one that you'd be able to say, I'm definitely going to rewatch again. It was interesting rather than good. France, kind of easy winners in the end, even though they only got the 1 goal.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the main fella, Kylian Mbappe, though.
Unreal.
Oh, ending careers.
It was bad, wasn't it?
Like, to be fair to Mats Hummels, he did actually make a tackle, but there was a couple of times when he put a couple of decades on him.
Honestly.
And it was like, oh.
I found it was like watching, the David Attenborough series where it's like really slow-mo build-up, but it was like Mbappe was like a cheetah and Hummels was just like a donkey or something. You're like, no, don't do it to him. Like, it's sly, it's hard to watch. It was so bad.
There was a moment where like the commentators stopped because it was almost like, you can almost sense him thinking like, the man has a family. You can't do it like that on international TV. But I mean, I know that the world in which he is in a red shirt next season is probably a very, 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 very small one. But we can still dream that that link has still not completely dissipated. It might not be this season, it might be further down the line. But I mean, come on, the idea of that man in a red shirt, it just gets me excited.
Yeah, mad. Imagine what Klopp could do with him. I could never see it happening just with the wages and just if we're like letting Wijnaldum go on a free. That was hard to watch Wijnaldum actually. Like I hadn't really thought about Wijnaldum loads, and when I watched that game, I was like, oh, like I'm so gutted you're not going to play for us again. And he had a really good game, didn't he?
He did.
But yeah, I just think the wages, and also I think Klopp really, he likes a small squad, doesn't he? But I think he really likes to kind of balance the personalities. I don't think he likes having superstar mentalities, if that makes sense. He keeps them all grounded, and I know everyone tries to build up the whole Salah Mane thing and all that type of stuff, but I do think attitude and personality is a big thing. And don't get me wrong, Mbappe is amazing, but I definitely think he probably comes with a bit of an air of arrogance and whatever. And I just can't really see him being a Klopp player.
No, to be honest with you, like some of the stuff that's come out with the whole him and Giroud, he never passed to me business. It's just like a bit like, oh,
yeah.
I was a bit sad when I heard all that because it's just like, yeah. That we do have our very strict no dickheads policy.
Yeah, we do.
May well have failed for all of that.
Yeah, which
is a shame. But we can always but dream, I guess. I mean, don't get me wrong. The lads that we've got right now are still very good. I want to talk a little bit more about those two, in particular, Salah and Mane in particular, because obviously we are going to be missing them. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of talk about what we are or aren't going to do in the transfer market. Obviously, there's the likes of Harvey Elliott, Harry Wilson still knocking around, but they are still very young, untested at the top level. Do you expect Liverpool to go in and buy one more, even if someone like an Origi doesn't move, which at the moment it looks like he probably is going to move?
I think he probably will move, and I think we just have to go in for more. Imagine if they're at the African Cup of Nations and then Jota gets injured. I think Klopp will be touch all the wood in the room possible. But I think Klopp will be scarred from last season. Like I think in football you've got to kind of take your risks, and it's not as easy as saying just get someone in because you've then got then wages to pay and long contracts you've got to fulfil. So I understand it, but I just think them risks. Well, I mean they can be taken, but it means you're probably not going to win silverware. So I don't think we're going to go in for a superstar. I think he'll try and get someone relatively unpolished that he can, we can really work on. But I think, I can't see Origi staying. But I think that backup then needs to be someone who's like a kind of a small step up from Origi, I think.
No, I think you're right. I think lots of things still to happen this season, but whatever does happen, there's enough quality in our dressing room. And now we've got the fixture list to prove it, that we think that we are going to be the best team in England next season. The season starts August 14th away at Carrow Road. Season finishes at home against Wolverhampton Wanderers on May the 22nd, hopefully with the Premier League trophy. Sian, thank you for joining me on this exciting day, and to you all as well. See you again soon.